This is the Hunt, Trap, and Horns podcast.
Hey guys, welcome to the second episode of the Hunt, Trap, Horns podcast. My name is Justin Stanley here with Tanner Way, and today we're going to be covering our 2022 season, starting from the beginning shed season all the way to the end of my late hunt in December. So, you got any remarks before we start?
It was a pretty good season. It was an interesting one. There's a lot of factors I know for both of us outside of the hunting world that kind of probably controlled a little bit of our time, but it was a good season. It was one of those for me definitely to look back on and did some reflecting and kind of put the bug back in to get out a lot more in 2023.
Cool. Well, I guess, we can start with, I was still in Idaho finishing up college at University of Idaho, and so I was doing a lot of shed hunting over there for whitetail sheds, and I was able to get out a lot. It was senior year, so I didn't have as many classes as I had early on, and was able to get out, and I found quite a few sheds over there, and it was fun. Went out with some buddies that I had never gone out before and some that had never shed hunted before, which was fun.
Nice.
And take them out, and then had a buddy show me a new area down for muley sheds, and it was fun. Just traveled, kind of all over north central Idaho looking for sheds, and also in Washington as well, different areas that I don't get to go to when I'm up here. And it was cool. Good diversity. Found elk sheds, whitetail sheds, and muley sheds, which was cool. I didn't pick up any moose sheds, but had some buddies that did. And did you get out during shed season at all?
Not really. On our own property, which isn't a whole much, but that's because I was out working on it.
Yeah.
So we moved in to this new place here this last February, which is not far at all from where we are. And so it was unpacking, trying to get kids settled, found broken water lines. Again, this is February. And so it was one of those like rehabbing places the place a little was big. So no, I didn't get out a whole lot. Found a couple little tiny dinks on the property that was spiking, a little 2-point, I think is all it was. Nice. But that was about it. But again, I was out working doing other stuff pretty much. Yeah.
After the first, initial start of shed season, then I started getting close to graduation time and definitely didn't have the freedom to be out as much as I was like to, but we still got out a couple times for some fishing trips over there, just on some local lakes, which was fun. But after that, I didn't even get out for turkey season at all. It was just trying to focus, make sure I graduated and everything.
That's, priority. You got to go to school at some point.
Mm-hmm. Yep, but it's nice that that's all finished up. And, but you did do some turkey hunting this last spring.
Did. Went out, me and a buddy Matt went out to a couple. He has permission on some private. It was also private, using private access to get to public property and stuff like that too. A lot of it was public land though. Saw a ton of birds, so it was a lot of fun. Had an absolute blast, but it was like the year of the jakes. So like literally, we went out a couple weekends back to back, and it was, even in different areas. The same general area, but finding new birds. Mm-hmm. It was just we'd find a group of jakes after jakes after jakes, and I wasn't too keen on shooting a jake, which is nothing wrong with it at all. I don't care. If I would have known I wouldn't get a turkey, I would have doubled up on jakes the first morning. Yeah. So I don't have to get up at 3 a.m. again to go the next morning, because every day that sun gets up a little bit later every time you pass a turkey. That's like one of the biggest takeaways I've learned from turkey hunting was the longer you can wait, but the longer you wait, you're getting up earlier. Yeah. So, ended up passing on a lot of birds, which was okay. It was good to see that many out and to be able to get that many called in close, tearing up the decoys, beating the hell out of them. They were fired up. We timed it on one weekend just right. It was, out of a whole season, you can get like, what do they say, a few days, 3, 4, 5 days maybe, where the woods, are on fire where you're at. And again, it changes with the weather, and where you're at and your elevation and stuff. So, but we hit it just right one day, and it was a blast. I mean, everything was fired up. They were moving back and forth, going different places, and just fired up. They were answering calls, very receptive. So it was a lot of fun, and to see we saw a lot of birds, but no toms. So
Dang.
didn't take a shot.
Yeah.
But me, I am a meat hunter by far. So again, I would have doubled up on Jake's, no problem. But I chose to try to wait out and see a tom because we were seeing so many birds. I'm like, there has to be a lone tom around here somewhere that's tired of getting their butt kicked. He's going to come in, and we figured he's going to come in. He's going to be quiet. He's not going to be loud at all. So I mean, we were, not moving. I mean, doing a pretty good job of trying to get the job done, but nothing came in. Nothing that I wanted to shoot at for my first tag.
Were you guys locating them in their roost and going?
Yes.
Going up to them?
Well, sometimes. Most of the time, that's what we would do is, put them to bed in their roost that night before, just know the rough area they're at, and even hang out a little bit, see, kind of put the woods to bed, see if the coyotes coming out early. I mean, there's what's out, no, because those birds will definitely jump trees from limb to limb in the pitch black, no problem. We've had it where they'll be hundreds of yards away in the roost the next morning. So typically we'll put them to bed and then work our way in the next morning, formulate a plan that night, and where do we want to set up, where's the decoys, where's the sun coming up, what does wind look like, are they going to fly down, how far, is there a fence, all the little things, formulate a plan and then go after them. So most of these ones, we knew they were in the area, and again, it's areas we've hunted before. Matt's hunted this area a long time with his dad, and so they kind of knew where. Okay, if they're here, they're probably going to be working their way around this point or this finger, wherever down this drainage. And so, like I said, we were able to get on a lot of birds, and then there's other mornings too where, we're seeing, do some call and locate birds, throw up the glass and glass them real quick and look and be like, those are the same ones from yesterday, or they just came over to this drainage now, so we would just do a run and gun style, which is what we do a lot, and just go locate new ones.
Nice.
Just go out, get the owl call if it's still dark, a favorite of mine. Just try and go locate, and just run the roads, try to hear something way back. Okay, does it sound like a tom? And if it does, grab your gear, throw it on, and go. But again, everywhere we went, and it was also kind of when you start getting out there we going out multiple weekends, you kind of get to the point where that's a tom. Oh yeah, for sure. And and maybe if it was opening weekend, that's probably a Jake. So we're like, no, it has to be a tom. So we'd go run it out there and get in, call a bird in. Nope, it's a Jake.
And you were using shotgun or bow?
This was shotgun this year.
Okay.
For me, and then he brought his boat. Matt brought his boat at some point.
Okay.
But it was just, we had a good time though. We had rain, we hit snow, we were getting dumped on in snow, and I didn't have a camera with me, and I wish I did, because there was some gorgeous footage out there.
Oh, cool.
Just it's like the sun peeking through clouds, but huge snowflakes. The $50, size, coming down, falling in the snow through the canopy of the trees, freaking full, turkey strutting out there doing their thing. It was freaking cool. So we saw some cool stuff, had some bad weather, but so it was a fun season, but just no toms for the amount of time I had to go actually out hunting. Also, again, with moving into a place, a newer place, and working on it. So the time I had, just couldn't get a tom basically, but it was a fun time. It was, for the amount of birds we saw, pretty excited for this year. So
cool. Yeah, I'm excited for this year too. I didn't get out. I saw a ton of toms in Idaho when I was shed hunting, but I just didn't buy an out-of-state turkey license, but didn't do anything here in Washington. But gonna change that this year, which will be fun. And then yeah, do any early spring fishing or anything this last year?
A little bit. Hit a couple lakes around. Just local lakes, fly fishing. Primarily rainbows, and so I had a good time doing that. What else did we do as far as spring? That was mostly it. I'd say just local lakes. Took the little Bucks bags, pontoon boats or a little 14-foot aluminum boat out. Just go putt around, just fly fishing some local stuff. So that was fun. And then we did do a trip actually. Actually did get a guided trip. I forgot about that. Doing spring walleye. And so that was fun with D. Wayne of Herd's Guide Service. Highly recommend him. Did some walleye fishing, went out to Banks, and then that was a little bit slow. Ton of fish on the graph, but the weather was just bad. It was awful weather. A really bad storm. So I actually ended up bumping down going to Rufus on the same day. So he took care of us big time.
Nice.
Went to Rufus, limited on trout first thing. Like the guy has that down. Like it was ridiculous. Like, boat in the water and there's 4 of us. Boom, all trout limit in an hour or less probably. Nice. And then we started jigging for walleye, located walleye, so brought up some of those too. Awesome. That was an absolutely awesome trip at D. Wayne. So put some meat in the freezer there off of that. And then that was pretty much it. After that, it was a little bit of a break just from fishing and hunting just because, again, working on the house. And we putting out, we have irrigation, getting that system all sorted out and things. So that was kind of my last outing until we probably get closer to more archery.
Okay.
Archery deer.
Yeah, we did just a couple local lakes here that we had to hike into, which was really fun. That I hadn't fished in a long time, probably since I was, maybe 6 or 7, which was cool to go back to those places with family. And then summer was just busy working on the house that we moved into also, and then we had a kid in July, so we got really busy there, and then moved August or straight into a bear season August 1st, and it was warm, but it was definitely a blast. Did you get out to do any bear hunting this last spring or fall?
No, I wish in the spring. I wish Washington would
not anymore.
Wake up, but personal opinion. No, I've always been kind of one of those hunters where, like, opportunistic, where, you know what, I'm going up to hunt deer. I'm gonna get a bear tag anyways. Even though, so haven't really gone out just targeting solely bear yet until this year. But this last year, no, nothing solely for bear. We'd go up and get firewood and throw a rifle in type of thing too, but that was it. It was nothing, no actual. I'm going out looking, solely no camo. No camo was put on for this bear hunting this year.
Yeah, I spent quite a bit of time, especially in August. I can't remember the exact day that I killed my first one, but I spent quite a few days out, probably 10. I was almost every single day I'd be out, usually in the evenings when I had time, going for a drive and then hiking out points and stuff and glassing to see if I could find any, and I finally ended up getting one. Yeah, I think it was around the middle of August, so I'd definitely been hunting for a good 10 to 15 days. Ended up getting a nice boar, a big white patch on him, which was pretty cool. And, took a lot of time, but I knew it was this area that I definitely wanted to kill a bear that I never had before and knew they were there. Just all the trees were marked up, and I did end up putting a trail cam up there a couple weeks before I killed it, and it was just, I was getting a lot of bears on camera, but they were not consistent at all when they were coming in. So I would, go up there and then hike in and sit for a while, and nothing would come in, and finally just timed it right, and there happened to be a bear walking through when I walked in as well, and got him, and that was fun. And it was weird because he didn't bleed at all. I shot him twice actually, and I started tracking 0 blood where I shot him, And I followed his tracks for a little ways. Maybe it was like only 20 yards I could track it. Then the grass got too thick and I couldn't follow him very well. And yeah, it was tough to find. And I ended up standing on a fence post that was out there and looked around. And he was only 100 yards from where I actually shot him, but it was not in the direction that I saw him run, and so he must have turned at some point and went the other way.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, found him, which was cool. So he's at the taxidermist now getting tanned. And then after that, I was just driving around for the rest of August. Didn't buy my second bear tag or anything. I've never killed 2 bears in 1 year, and I was still seeing, a couple bears a week just driving around and stuff. And finally I broke down. I was like, all right, I'll just go get my second bear tag. And ended up going up to go to that same spot that I killed that first bear. And on my way up, I glassed out and saw one down in the bottomless draw and shot that one too. It was a cool color phase bear as well. It was like chocolate color, brown. And
nice.
Ended up dying in a creek, which was pretty interesting. I haven't had to deal with that before. So,
What'd you shoot him with?
A Tika T3 270.
And that's what you did the review on?
Yep.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that review's on YouTube. On that gun, I've killed a moose, bear, cougar, deer, elk. I mean, I've pretty much killed everything with it. Coyotes, groundhogs. Yeah, I love that gun. And yeah,
delicious tasting cougar.
Yeah, that was impressive.
Yes.
How good that cougar was. But yeah, killed 6 bears with that gun now, and
nice.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do with a bow this year. Do something different. But yeah, so that was pretty much my bear season. That was September 21st or something, somewhere in that range is when I killed that second bear, which was the latest I've ever killed one. I usually always kill them in the first half of August.
Okay.
I just tend to find them easier then, and it seems like after October 1st, around that range, I don't find them anymore. They're just not in their normal habitat that I normally see them in. I think they're starting to move and get ready for winter, and so I have a harder time finding them at that time of year. So August is usually when I do the best, but I ended up getting that one at the end of September. Yeah, which was pretty fun. So that was my bears season.
So very successful.
Yes, I got pretty lucky with that second one, but yeah, I spent a lot of time out there. Even if it was just driving, I was still out there a lot, and then I would hike to points and stuff. I didn't really put in any major trips anywhere or like major hikes or anything, just because I had a newborn at home, so I could only get away for an hour or two. So I just did what I could and ended up getting lucky and getting 2. But I love bear meat. It's definitely one of my favorites, and so I was happy to put 2 of those in my freezer.
Heck yeah, so I can't wait. I'm excited for this year.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope we can get you one for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, then I moved into right after that was muzzleloader season, and I didn't really hunt that much because I drew that late tag in December, so I was waiting on that mostly. And I went out with my dad a couple times, and we saw some bucks, but weren't able to get on them. And I can't remember. It was maybe just spent 3 or 4 days out during that season. And other than that, didn't do much and went straight into rifle season from there. Did you do any hunting during that October time period?
Nope, nothing. I was basically, again, working at our place and then banking my time for what little bits of hunting I could do for basically late archery. But it was definitely scouting time, getting out, setting cameras, refilling bait stations where I had them, and just doing the kind of pre-scout stuff because I knew I'm going to have such a limited time hunting come late season archery that, you want to capitalize and see, like, oh, I wish I would have, that 1 week I skipped checking the camera. I wish I would have checked it type of thing, And so it was like, no, I was pretty diligent on pulling chips or swapping chips, doing the scouting thing. That's primarily what I was doing.
Nice.
along with working on the house.
Yeah.
Right? It's never ending.
So, yeah, finished up October. Buddy got a buck during rifle season that was already injured, unfortunately, from someone else. But, we're happy to be able to, put that buck out of its misery. It had a huge hole in its arm that was shot too low. And so we were able to get that buck. And, yeah, I didn't hunt the rest of rifle season. It's pretty crazy in this area. Just a lot of people out, and it's just not something I'm interested in. So
no, it's a pumpkin patch.
Yeah.
I mean, there's freaking people everywhere. You just see orange all over the place. A lot of people coming in from out of the area too, which is okay. I mean, I more hunters the better, but for the whole sport. But it does get a little bit frustrating. I mean, that was one of the biggest reason why I went to archery hunting was too many people, and it was more important for me to be able to get away and kind of disconnect.
Yeah.
Versus always putting meat in the freezer. And so it was, I mean, that's one of my biggest reasons was there's too many people rifle hunting.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of people out there, but yeah, like you said, it is good for the sport to have people, especially now when hunting, in this state is, becoming under attack quite a bit,
Oh, for sure.
So it's good to have more people, but I do enjoy those seasons like muzzleloader and archery where there are less people out there. And then I moved into, after rifle season, I started putting up a bunch of trail cams. Now in the area I live, I have pretty quick access out into the woods and everything and into the winter range. And so I put up quite a few cameras and just to see what was rolling through in case there was something nice that rolled through. And I wasn't super I wasn't looking for anything in particular just because I had that late tag. And so if something nice rolled through that was sticking around, I was going to go out and look for it. But if not, it was still cool to get out and get pictures of bucks rolling through that you normally wouldn't see in this area. And then it moved right into the end of November, late season for me. How about you?
Pretty much. Like I said before, a bunch of scouting leading into November, and then it was kind of pretty much game on for late archery. That's my big one. I don't know, most people listening or watching don't, but I'm usually a big whitetail guy. That's what I chase, whitetail. So staying around here more we're kind of more definitely muley dominant, in this area. So it was a little bit of game change for me. I mean, not a whole lot. I didn't do it to put a ton of work into it. I mean, to be honest, it was, it's checking cameras. Where are they coming through at? Okay, through here, a couple different spots, threw up ground blind, a couple different spots. And it was similar to whitetail, kind of a waiting game to see when they could come in. Again, my hunting time was a little bit limited. So it was kind of doing a weekend, morning sit here, or maybe a couple, mornings over Thanksgiving, kind of weekend break if I could sneak away a little. So, morning sit here and there type of thing, or maybe throwing a random evening sit. And that was, pretty it. They were sparse. So it did help, though, having all the more trail cam info to try and help predict, when comparing to the weather, when are these deer going to be moving through, which helped. But then I guess I could just jump into my late season.
Yeah. What was your setup? What were you looking at? And
so a number of different bucks, and actually it's a lot of similar bucks that you're having on your cameras too. And so that was a nice thing, being able to correlate. Hey, have you seen this one? Yep. This day, this time, okay. Yep. Got him over here. So that was kind of cool to bump stuff or information back and forth. I had a ground blind set up at our house, muddy. It's like they're 2 or 3 person one. I had that set up here, and then over on another piece of private, I had another ground blind set up. Just a lot of deer getting pushed through, and having the setups up early, I think, was a huge benefit, because we had that snow hit November 6th, the night, I think it was the night of the 6th, and it was literally the migration started. I mean, we haven't had that much snow in years. I mean, a decade.
Yeah.
So it got things moving big time. And literally that night, bucks start showing up on camera. So it was good to have the setups out early. Then kind of just pushing through. There's a couple different bucks. Had a shot on one again, having, young family and a new place for us. It was seeing deer literally walk by in the yard out the window and be like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And I, look back at my, little kids. All right, let's keep playing.
Yeah.
One of those. So there was some torture involved. That's for sure. I mean, then I think I even told you too, we put pictures up on the Instagram that the funky look, the non-typical looking one. Yeah. And that one, I mean, literally off my deck. We have a second story deck, with the daylight basement, and it's literally off the deck at 12 yards, maybe. I mean, it'd be ridiculous. I mean, maybe
you just
12
didn't feel right.
I'm like
that. Just know.
Yeah. Literally, I had my bow sitting. I mean, I had my bow out, the binos, the rangefinder out on the kitchen table. The kids know do not touch, And so, I mean, I've literally grabbed it and looked out, but I'm literally in Jordan basketball shorts and a tank top. I'm not even joking.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm not gonna go shoot a deer in this. This does not feel like hunting at all.
Yeah.
So go back, put the bow down, and so definitely passed up on a couple shots that could have been very successful. But then ended up going back to the blind. And so, I mean, it's where I spent most of the time. Had some negative. And usually I always hunt public. Where we go whitetail hunting, it's 100% public. Never hunted on private. So this was the first year, and private property was on my own. And then the other private was a family member's. And so, but I've never had this much issues with people, with other hunters ever in my entire life.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, just having people literally show up. I'm out in the field in a ground blind, and they'll just park blocking a private driveway and just sitting there and watching, waiting to see if the deer will come close enough to them. And I'm like, well, you're on private property around you.
Yeah.
I know 100% certain, you do not have permission to even be here, and you're blocking private roads, things like that. And literally deer, it'd be, them in their truck, then me and my ground blind, and the deer are on the other side of me moving into my, walking through my set. I kind of had an ambush set up. And so the deer would just take another course. They'd literally bump deer off of me. And I'm just like, WTH, man. What are you doing?
Yeah. And you knew that this family member doesn't give out permission to anyone else, so you knew that these people weren't.
Yep. No permission. And even the neighboring property, both the neighboring property also, he doesn't give permission to anybody.
Okay.
I mean, not even his family. So nobody hunts. So I knew I was the only person who had permission to be there. Then we literally had another one. I told you this one before, but I'm sitting in ground blind watching these deer, and really nice muley buck, mature bighorn deer, thick mass. I mean, just a gorgeous animal. Pushing probably 6-7 doe. Goes over the break of this hill, and they always push him, and then they pop back up, come right through my set. And so I'm sitting there watching these deer. They go down over the hillside, and I literally lift my bow off its sticks. I'm sitting there, literally, releasing, they're going to come out. I got about maybe 10 minutes.
How far are you expecting them to come out at?
They'll go over the hill about 150 yards away, and then when they pop back out, it's only probably 80 yards maybe, but then they literally walk straight at me, and then they kind of dog leg 90 degrees and walk broadside right in front of me down this trail.
Oh, okay.
And so, it's just like clockwork. Literally, again, having cameras out there, had a ground blind set up early. Literally clockwork. I'm sitting there watching them. You could see them where we went shed hunting.
Mm-hmm.
You could see them filtering off these hills and these drainages and literally pop out way on the north end of all these fields.
Dang.
And then they make their way down, cross the road over that break of that hill I just said, then pop back. And so they literally go over the hill. Dude drives up in his pickup truck. 2 guys hop out. One has a bow, goes over the hillside. They're looking. They look for a minute, go over the hillside, and right then and there, I'm like, nope, okay. And so obviously he has a bow.
Yeah.
Go over the hillside. I'm like, in big warm clothes and camera set up, bow, everything. I'm trying to get all this stuff set up, get my ground blind chair out of the way. I'm getting out of the ground blind. I'm about to get out of the ground blind, and I see all these deer come busting up over the edge of the hill, and this buck's coming up. Not saying these guys shot it or not, because obviously I couldn't see, but somebody at some point shot this buck in the shoulder, and he wasn't like that a couple days before when I had him on camera.
Yeah.
So he comes out there doing the leg, hobble thing, goes running up, ended up trying to track. My parents did also, who live on a neighboring property, even with horses and stuff, but no luck, never found him, never found a body, sheds, nothing yet. So, but anyways, they hop back in the truck. I'm getting out there, trying to get them to stop.
Yeah.
Let's have a chat. And they basically boogied out of there, didn't stop, never saw him again. And I'm just like, this is 100% private property. Every side of the road, there's not a lick of public
anywhere close to it.
No. And it's only owned by a couple different landowners.
Yeah.
So it's not like divided up small pieces. These are large parcels.
Yeah.
Minimum parcel size is probably 40 acres. I'm like, it's not, you're not messing this one up.
Yeah.
You know what you're doing.
It's unfortunate.
Yeah, so that was a bummer. And I never had to do that. The only other time I ever had to run with anybody on public was basically catching someone in my set. And I told them, it's public ground, it is, and this is my setup here, but what you did is not acceptable. It's not okay. That's looked down upon. You're not breaking a law, but, you need to go. And they, no problem, my bad, cool. Never had a problem with them again. But like this was just different.
Yeah.
I mean, this was so blatant, like, oh yeah, it was bad. And so that was a little bummer, especially seeing this quality of animal come through there.
How big do you think he was? 4 point, solid 4 point?
He was pushing, let me think. He was big. No, he's bigger than a 4. He's a 4x5. Because he had one extra kicker. He wasn't the big, crazy one everyone was looking for. But he was a 4x5. Probably similar genetics. He wasn't totally typical. But a wide rack. Like, I mean, I don't know. I'm not going to say he was a 30. He was a 30 incher, like everyone does. But, I mean, he was over 26.
Nice.
I mean, so he was he'd be my biggest by far.
Yeah. That's a solid buck.
And then it's also like putting in the time, like, hey, trail cameras are out. I'm watching. I mean, there's times where I'm going up literally on just property edges away, just watching them.
Yeah.
When are they stepping out? When should I get in the ground blind because they can see me way up on these hillsides they're filtering from, like you putting in that work and then all beforehand just to have knowing that I'm only going to have a few, maybe evenings and a morning or a few mornings and an evening, kind of to sit. And, playing my cards the best I can, and then someone else comes in like that on 100% private property.
Yeah.
That's why I'm just like, oh, I was a little upset.
Yeah.
And
I
so
probably would be too if I knew that I was the only one. But, yeah, it sucks when that happens, especially when it's on private. You expect that to happen every once in a while on public land because public land, so people are going to be out there. But
yeah, I mean, I can't bust someone for coming down a road and stopping, looking at a deer, especially if I'm in a ground blind or tree stand on public property, they see a deer in the woods, they're stopping, but here it's like, it's like I said, 100% private. There's absolutely zero access to public land off of this road. Like, there's no point for you to even come up here and be parking for an hour, and you're parking not far at all from my ground blind and can see me, and I'm like waving at you like, hey, like, go, and you sit there still until I go to get out of the ground blind, and then you'd leave.
Yeah. Yeah, that's unfortunate for sure.
Yeah,
Hopefully that doesn't happen this year. And, I had this kind of similar opportunity that you did as well from the house that I live at. I looked out one day, and there was a really nice 3-point with the eye guards. He was definitely a solid buck, and he was, only 30, 40 yards from the house, and I was just like, I can't do it. It just doesn't feel right,
When you got to slide the window open to shoot through, right?
Yeah, just go outside, walk around the house, and be within range. And, I was not something I wanted to do. Just didn't feel right to me personally. I mean, I don't blame anyone that would have done it because, you know, it was a nice buck. You would have got meat pretty easy. And, but it's, yeah, for me personally, it wasn't the hunt that I wanted to have. It wasn't really hunting at all. But yeah, and I had a couple opportunities like that with, you know, smaller 3x4s and 3-points and stuff that were walking by as they're on their way out towards their wintering range. And I just didn't feel right with any of those bucks to do that. And I did go out a couple times looking for some bigger ones, and just never turned anything up that I was wanting to shoot with that late tag. Like I said before, I was hopeful of that one to find a bigger buck, you know, and something more mature. And so, yeah, I went out with family a couple times, and
your standards were also higher than mine because you were sending me pictures. What do you think of this one? And I'm like, shoot.
There was one buck that really had me like, man, he was at 50 yards. I had him for an hour at least one day, and I was like taking pictures of him, looking at him, thinking about it, and just was like, I want to experience that late tag, you know, a post-rut tag, which I've never done before for mule deer. And yeah, I just couldn't get myself. It would have been a lot bigger deer than what I ended up killing during that late season, but I still wanted to go experience something different that I hadn't before. And so, but that one, it was that 3x4 that had an inline, and I got some cool video of them though. Just decided it's not what I want to do. And I don't regret it. Like, I don't regret not shooting him or going after him, or, you know, not saying that I would have hit him for sure, because, you know, anything could happen. But I don't regret not going after him and shooting him even now, even though I shot a smaller buck in that late season. Yep. So, and you ended up not getting anything during your late hunt then?
Nope. Ended up, so, like, again, I'm a meat hunter. I'll be the first to admit, like, I want meat in my freezer. I want wild game in my freezer. So if I would have known, and again, it goes out to everybody, check your local regulations, and I would have shot a doe early season. I would have been done, knowing that I don't have time to hunt. Like, you know, it'll be this year. Like, I'm planning on shooting a doe early season now this year, and if I would have known, I probably would have, just to get it done, meat in the freezer, and keep plugging away at this property. I'm trying to develop it into what I want it to be. Hopefully, holding a lot, you know, nice deer in the future. That's what I'm shooting for.
Not necessarily develop it into, you know.
No, this is
develop it into
deer
quality
habitat. Habitat for deer, you know, birds, you know, pollinators, all that stuff.
It's just gonna take some work to do, you know.
But for sure.
Here in the next couple of years, it will be for sure.
Oh yeah, and so that's what. Yeah, definitely no houses on this property. No additional, just ours. So again, nope, couldn't have shot. I ended up having it was actually that same deer, the one that I could have shot off the deck, came back into our place here on our property, and I had the bow out, and I was about to draw back. He was right at 40 yards, but literally I had 5 does sitting there milling around in the ground, picking through the snow, eating stuff, happy, not a care in the world, licking their lips, swishing their tail. I mean, like, they were not alert to anything, and they were 22 yards away. Okay. And this buck, he comes out, follows this same trail, goes, you know, it crosses through. It's kind of a long, straight stretch that we use like as an access road, but it just grows in with grass, but it's green grass, so they come back in and eat it through the snow. And so he crossed way down the way, probably 80, 90 yards away. But then they come right back out around 40-ish and then walk right down this access right for him. And so anyways, like I said, deer or does 20 yards out, no problem, happy as ever. He held up at 40, and it's literally, I could see his shoulder, neck, head, you know, antlers. I'm like, and he started, you know, you could just tell. Like, once you put enough time out there, even like I said, I'm a whitetail guy, maybe just because whitetail are just so freaking stubborn, especially when I'm trying to get them and hide. he held up, and you could spot in their eye right away, like, oh
He knew
shit,
something was-
he's gonna bust,
Yeah.
or he's not coming in. Like there's something tipping him off. He doesn't like. There's
And
something
you were
he doesn't
spot
like.
and stock on this?
Oh no, this was in a ground blind.
Ground blind,
So I'm
okay.
sitting there and I'm just watching him, and I just know immediately. I'm sitting there not moving. He has no idea. Hasn't even looked at the blind, and I'm just sitting there like, nope. He's holding up,
Yeah.
and so he literally went to take a step out. I went to full draw at this point because I know I'm gonna have it's gonna happen relatively soon, in the next 20 seconds, or he's gonna turn and walk. And so literally took about a half a step and leaned forward a little, kind of just looked around, didn't bust, didn't look at me, and just nope, turned around and slowly walked away.
Dang.
Does didn't even care. Does kept eating, and there's a couple yearlings. Last year's fawns were
Yeah.
there. Not a care in the world. I'm like, you got to be kidding me.
How many
that was
days
it.
left of the season did you have at this point? Do you know?
That was my last time I could sit. So that was the
Okay.
end of my season for sure. I think there's probably another, the rest of that week, but I had to go back to work.
Yeah.
So it was like the rest of the week was open, and then I don't get off early enough to, it's too dark already. I mean, so it'd be literally what happens. I'm driving home in the driveway, and
Yeah.
I'm jumping deer off the property or off the road or driveway coming
Yeah.
in. So there's no way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I didn't obviously get anything during that season, and so then I moved into starting December 1 was my late draw hunt that I had, which was pretty cool. A tag I've never had before in an area I've never hunted before. And I've heard there's a lot of deer, and I talked with the biologist and stuff before I went down, and he said that the quality of bucks have gone down quite dramatically the last couple of years because of it was EHD or blue tongue, I can't remember which one, and just the drought where the tag has been pretty brutal. And so I went down there, with not a ton of high hopes to find a giant, but still, in the back of my mind, I was like, this could be a tag where, that's like definitely on their winter range where they're going to be for a while. It's where all the deer are going to be. And so I still had hopes I was going to see one and get down there the first day and seeing a bunch of deer right off the bat. Right off the bat, I actually saw probably the biggest buck I saw the whole time, but it was the first one I saw, and so I was like, oh, I'm just not going to shoot that for sure because I hadn't seen – I just getting into the unit. And I drove around a lot the first day just learning roads, and I scouted twice before I went down and scouted different areas, but still it was only a fraction of the unit. And so I was mostly driving and glassing the first day, going out to different points and, high points and ledges where I could see a lot of country and glassing. And I saw, pushing 35, 40 bucks the first day, but nothing of any size. Yeah, no, here is a great day, especially, for late season, and they were all fairly close. Stuff that would have easily been stockable, but nothing of any size at all. I mean, one of the bigger bucks I even seen was a 2-point, and I saw a 4-point that was smaller than the 2-point, and so nothing that really got me excited to go after, but I was just excited seeing that many deer. It was just cool. I mean, literally every which way I looked, there's a buck, and it was just different country too. It was wide open sagebrush country. It was just pretty much had everything you'd want in it reminded me a lot of like Wyoming, what you see there in the videos of their winter range. It was a lot like that.
Yep.
And so I didn't shoot anything or didn't even go after anything the first day, and hunted a couple more days and just still wasn't seeing anything that was of any size. And I had a couple month-old baby at home that I felt like I needed to be with and help, and so I can't remember what day it was. It was day 3 or something. I decided I found a decent 2x3. It wasn't small, but definitely not big by any means, and went after it and was able to shoot that buck, which was cool. I forgot how much fun bow season is. It's the last couple of years being at college, I would come home during muzzleloader season and usually shoot a deer during that.
Mm-hmm.
And because I mean, I really love muzzleloader season as well. You still gotta get close, but you don't gotta get quite as close as archery. But you don't get the experience of late season rutting deer during muzzleloader, which is September and October. So I definitely fell back in love with archery hunting again. And right after that, I went and bought a new bow and everything. And that's definitely 2023. I'm hoping is gonna be the year of the bow for me, and get a bear and turkey and deer and whatever you can with a bow. Definitely get it.
Mm-hmm.
And probably gonna start bow hunting a lot more than I have the last couple of years. I did for a while when I was in high school. Did a lot of archery, but that was pretty much my season. Ended up just killing. If you guys saw on Instagram, not a monster, but 2x3 that filled the freezer even more. And I guess I also went to Idaho. Forgot about that.
Right?
Forgot about that. I went to Idaho as well with some buddies, and that was in November, and killed a 4-point whitetail and missed a really nice one opening morning. I just was not expecting to see the deer where I did. I was walking down this old logging road and came around a corner and just saw the white patch of a deer, and but everything else was behind bushes and trees. And I was looking at it and I had my binos up, and all of a sudden it turned and started going away, and I saw this beautiful buck, and I was like, holy crap. And so I got my gun up and was following it, and it finally turned, and then right as I shot it started running, and I missed above it. I know for sure I did. I saw it hit the tree above it, but it was offhand at like 100 and some yards, and I should have been more prepared for that, but ended up getting a decent buck over there, which was cool. And didn't get a tag for this next year over in Idaho, which is unfortunate. I've been hunting over there for quite a few years now, but wasn't able to get the unit I was hoping for. So hopefully gonna try Montana this next year, which will be cool.
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, and did you finish anything up in December for 2022? Doing anything?
Not much. The only thing I'd had to add earlier would be did some salmon fishing in the summer. That was pretty fun. Went out for a handful of days, brought home a bunch of sockeye fillets, caught a couple good kings. So that was a lot of fun. I had a good time doing that. But yeah, other than that, wrapping up the year, it was basically still, I'd have to say, working at the house still, winterizing up stuff, getting that stuff finished. But like I said, overall, my 2022, it was, like I said, kind of the start was, it was a year that helped prepare me mentally for 2023. Like, it made me really realize, how fortunate we are to be able to get out and do the things that we love to do, and the hunting and fishing and things like that, and to definitely appreciate the amount of time, or the times that we do get to go out. So I am definitely ready, even for what we got, turkey season to start off with. I'm
a little over a month and a half now,
and I've already went through my vest, so ready to go. Very ready.
Yeah, I'm excited to get this season kicked off, and even I'm really excited to get into some fishing stuff, which I've kind of fallen out of the last couple of years. But I'm really planning on getting back into doing some of that as well. I've definitely been more focused on hunting, but want to, diversify a little bit and do more broader things than just hunting. So, but 2022 was, I felt like I was lucky a lot because I didn't, with having a newborn, didn't spend as much time as I normally do, for sure. Maybe it was probably under half of what I normally do, but was still able to get 2 bears, 2 deer. It was just lucky, but I still spent a lot of time out, for sure. If I could get away for a little bit, I would definitely be out driving around, glassing, looking, and so I was learning the whole time if I wasn't hunting. But
for sure. And one thing I learned too is, you can do a lot of the same things. This is one thing my wife taught me, but it just might look a little different when it comes to having the kids. Like scouting too, I take advantage of e-scouting.
Oh,
Pull
yeah.
up the maps on computer. Like I've never spent so much time scouting, looking maps, computer. What's the weather been? What does water look like? Blue lining on an old topo map.
Yeah.
Just doing a lot more on the scouting end because I will have less time in the field.
Yeah.
And it works. I mean, like I said, it just looks different. It might be a little later nights after the kids go to bed. I'm up later, looking at a screen.
Yeah.
But if that's the time I got to do it and I want to do it, you got to get after it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so that's pretty much my recap for 2022. I don't think I got anything else to add. Any last touches you want to add on anything?
No, man, I'm ready. I'm ready for 23.
Yep. I'm excited. Going to be bringing some new content, hopefully some higher quality videos than we have in the past. But yeah, definitely going to be coming up with some new stuff this year, which will be fun for sure.
Yep.
Cool. Well, thanks guys for watching. You can check us out on Instagram or Facebook, and also if you're interested in any Hunt Trap and Horns hats, let us know on Instagram, and we're gonna be putting in a new order here soon. So yeah, let us know, and thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys on the next video.
See you.